Hey ye mateys! Welcome to the B-side book reviews, and today we be casting off on a great pirate adventure with Matt Tomerlin's The Devil's Tide. Hey. So grab your cutlass, grab your musket, grab something hearty to drink. I'm not sure what I even put in this. I just hope me hair gel stays in place. Anyway, so grab all this stuff and let's take a look at Matt Tomerlin's The Devil's Tide. Aye, matey, take hold of your cutlass and be board and ship, for we be casting off on another atrocious pirate adventure. Yes, this be the chillin' sequel to The Devil's Fire that left our red-headed vixen Kate Lindsay diving in the waters from a burning ship. It's right here. Oh yes, the English beauty is back in this yarn, missing ear and all, and she's full of spit and fire. Her husband, murdered by pirates in the first book, is from English money, and his family has put up a reward, a hefty reward, for anyone who brings her safely back home to England. Ooh, but Kate won't be hearing of this, for it's a pirate's life for her, and such a life finds her on a ship with the famous pirate Benjamin Hornigold, I think. Anyway, he be looking for buried treasure. The buried treasure that is left over from this your last book, by the way. But there be a bit of an issue here, though. Hornigold is a scallywag, and not only does he have pirate hunter Gary Dillahunt, I think, yes. Anyway, he's on his tail, but apparently Benjamin has pissed off the local pirate badass Blackbeard somewhere along the way. And he's after Benjamin as well. Oh yes, old Benny, he'd be a bit screwed. Nonetheless, Hornigold has taken Kate on with his crew, because only she knows where the big rich booty is buried. Kate is no longer the young English lass we all met in the first book. Yes! Ah, whatever. She be a fiery wench, and proves this in the first chapter, when she fillets some over-amorous sailor while securing her own precious booty in the process. Hold on though, for Kate isn't the only tasty booty sailing on these high seas of the Caribbean. In hot pursuit of Hornigold is pirate hunter Gary Dillahunt, and keeping his spirits up, among other things, is his own personal cabin boy, Jacques Holloway. Don't let the low voice and bad haircut fool you though, for we'll be having none of that fooling around with the cabin boy on this voyage. Oh, Jacques is actually Jacqueline, who is the little teenage strumpet that our fine captain picks up in some NASA whorehouse. Now longing for adventure and having the hots for our dashing young captain, the skinny little teenage whore hacks off her hair, and I'm guessing stops shaving her legs in an effort to fool the crew. Yes, she has the hots for our captain, but her real goal here is to put an end to the notorious scoundrel Edward Teach, better known as Blackbeard. Of course, Blackbeard has his own crazy wench on his ship to worry about as well. Now the smoking hot, high-priced whore, Annabella, is back from the first book, and she pretty much be betting every guy she thinks will help her reach her goal of... Not really sure what her goal was, come to think about that. But she's in a couple of really heavy sex passages. So, who be really a Karen? So, we've got 3 ships with 3 captains with 3 beautiful, amorous women all going to the same place. Yeah, I see nothing good coming from that. Now, throw in the 2 pirates, Charles Vane and Calico Jack Rackman, into the mix for a little more swashbuckling adventure. Yeah, hang on to your yardarms, laddies, because things are going to get really bloody, really fast. Methinks me needs more hair gel. Ah, aye. I love this yarn as much as I love the first book. And don't be a-frettin' if you ain't read the first one yet, because this tale be a far more separate story. Besides, our author generously dishes out enough insight to what happened in the first book to keep you up on the life of Kate Lindsay and the other 2 characters who managed to survive all the blood and gore from the last book here. Of course, who really cares about plot when our author, Mr. Tomerlin, goes to such length in describing every curve and every highly notable feature that our 3 lasses of the high seas have to offer. Oh yes, no quarter given there. He goes into such details describing their womanly virtues that the book could easily have been entitled The Devil's Attributes. Not that I was really complaining, though. I personally admired his eloquent creativity. Speaking of writing skills, big kudos go to our author for the scene where Blackbeard stuffs some scallywag into a coffin, complete with a porthole, and dumps him off into the sea. Mr. Tomerlin here gives such a descriptive account of this man's voyage to the bottom of the ocean, I could almost feel myself drowning as I read it. Aye, quite a fine job of yarn telling he did there. Aye. There be some great dialogue between these characters. Some of the lines were so bloody eloquent that I actually laughed out loud. Yo ho ho! I'm talking better lines than anything I've seen in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies or even the Black Sail series. We're talking absolute gold here, and you don't even have to dig it up. Now, getting a bit historical here, I've got to hand it to our author for keeping our pirates real in this book. I mean, really real. Charles Vane, Blackbeard, Jack Rackman, and Benjamin Hornigold were all actual pirates. And what's really strange is that they were all born within 2 years of each other, and then all died within 3 years of each other. Oh yeah, the life expectancy for a pirate back in those days was iffy at best. Yeah, a bit of a occupational hazard, I'm guessing. Our story here is truly fiction, but who cares when such great characters be abound? Now, the pirates were all badass macho maniacs who could drill out the one-liners while splitting someone's head in half. What more could you be wanting, I'll ask. Now, the women, of course, they all be sultry, sassy, and quite stunning. I couldn't really decide which of the 3 women I would have wanted if I be of the crew. Well, although Jacques and Annabelle were trained professionals, Kate was certainly one you wanted on your side. Oh yes, speaking of Kate, there be a bit of writing at the end when she is escaping a sinking ship and swimming in the ocean, fighting with every muscle and every ounce of determination left in her soul to reach the surface. I almost felt my lungs gasping for breath as I kept hoping and hoping and hoping she'd burst out through the surface. Well, did she make it? Ooh, I'll be not a tellin'. However, there is another book out there, so go figure. Aye, the high seas be full of a treacherous bunch of skunks, and in this book there is no short supply of them. One of the hardest parts of reading this book was keeping straight who were the good guys and who be the bad guys. Now I'm guessing Dillahunt was a good guy because he's out in pursuit of the notorious pirates. But in the meantime, he be nailing a little underage teenage hottie. Okay, before you get all caught up in the sex passages with Jacqueline, take into consideration that she just turned the tender age of 15. Ugh. Now, I don't mind me pirate wenches being of a tender young age, but I'd like to keep them of a tender young legal age. Now, our hero didn't seem to mind, though. Oh no, he merely complimented Jacqueline for being so talented at such a tender young age. Oh, what a guy that guy Dillahunt was. So, if you have issues with violence and good old pirate blood and guts and gore, well, you might be want to be sitting this voyage out, you see. Perhaps your reading pleasure might be more along the lines of Pete the Cat, or Clifford the Big Red Dog, or Carry the Cabbage, or whatever. Or you might just get so caught up in the toward sex passages that you pretty much forget about all the severed body parts that be flying about here in this book. Now, author Matt Tomerlin dedicated this book to two fierce lasses, his mother and sister. All I could think was, wow, he let his mom and his sister read this? Ooh, shiver me timbers indeed. Now this sequel to The Devil's Fire being nearly 100 pages longer than its predecessor. Now I never would have guessed it was so much longer because it reads so bloody easily. Yeah. It's about the same length as the Hunger Game books. So, my question is, where's the friggin' movies? These books would make great movies. Of course, I was already in a bit of a Buccaneer vibe because I was reading this book during the final season of the Star series, Black Sails. This is a bit interesting because I read the first book after watching the first season of Black Sails. Something to note, this book and that show has some of the same pirate characters. Ooh, kind of cool. Now, if they only would have had a Kate Lindsay in Black Sails. Aye, what a fun story there. Okay, so that be The Devil's Tide, a fine book, which is the sequel to The Devil's Fire, which is a pre-sequel to The Devil's Horizon. I think there's a trend developing here. A lot of devil's stuff. Anyway, go read a book. And you can start with these three.